Welcome back to the Breakroom, everybody. It's Tuesday. We're thrilled to have you here.
Just check in on the day.
Yeah, so they blur together.
It's been a weird one.
This is the daily nerdy news show that keeps you up to date on what you need to know. And this is March Madness, baby. We are going mad here with a bracket of the best villains of all time. We're going to have so much fun. We've got some hot takes cooking. We've got some evil a-brewing. Free. And we're going to find out, where does he get those wonderful toys?
I don't know that quote.
Kick him out. Just kick him out.
Get those wonderful toys.
And we might get to headlines, or we might not. You know what? If you want to guarantee we get to some headlines, drop a $50 super chat. And I will deliver headlines.
Zach,
for you.
what's going on today?
We're turned up, guys.
Zach is the captain.
It's a
We
rainy.
did get a new cappuccino machine in the office
And
today.
I drank an espresso in a normal coffee shot, so I'm wired.
It's a rainy day here in Ottawa, so we gotta turn it up a little bit. And joining me in this villainous bracket, I've got sometimes off-screen, sometimes on-screen, producer John.
Welcome to our show.
Yes.
We should have done villain quotes, and I don't know what that was.
Oh, I think that's
my
Okay.
fault.
Well, Brandon has the most time to think of one because up next we've also got the always on-screen Jessica Clemons.
That's not my daughter, Emperor Palpatine.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, Brandon Barrick.
I am not a crook.
Real life villain.
That's not a villain.
Richard Nixon
He's
isn't
a
the
hero
greatest
of
villain of all
America.
time.
How do you feel about Ronald Reagan?
Hero of America, fixed our economy.
Richard Nixon did create the EPA. We got to credit him with
Okay.
that.
He did do a lot of racist things.
Thank you,
All right.
Nixon.
And he had the dignity to resign. Okay.
We are not
Shots
awarding
fired.
the bad behavior of Richard Nixon.
Speaking of dignity, you know where there won't be a lot of dignity this
Where?
Friday at
Where?
2:30 p.m. WonderCon,
Whoa.
baby.
Fly from Ottawa. We're flying to Anaheim.
That's right. All of us and Eric Voss, Tommy Bechtold, a couple other maybe familiar faces from the New Rock Stars crew are going to be at WonderCon this Friday. We're doing
You
a
said
panel.
all of us.
Yeah, I said all of us.
Oh, I thought you just meant like, okay, keep going.
What about me?
You said Tommy, Eric, and I was like, I'm
He
going.
didn't say any of that.
Okay, guys, not in front of the kids. Okay, we're going to be doing a panel, 2:30 on Friday, room 213 AB. But you can also look that up on the WonderCon website.
Remember it.
We've got a lot of
Commit to memory.
fun stuff planned. It's gonna be really fun. Also, if you come out, we guarantee we'll take a picture with anybody. Jessica's committed to leaving voicemails on people.
I didn't say that. I said I was going to sign babies.
Oh, yes. If you bring a baby,
Find a baby.
and a baby-safe marker, and your baby will get signed.
And he's in the Sharpie.
So, in honor of being March Madness, of course, the NCAA basketball tournament, both men's and women's, are going on right now. And
Gonzaga.
No. And so we are doing our own little tournament.
That's right.
Multiple tournaments yesterday. You guys
Yeah.
did Best Origin
Best
Story.
origin story, best comic book origin story. We had Into the Spider-Verse as our winner. It was a close call between that and Iron Man 1. That was difficult. But I think we picked the right move.
Yeah.
It was tough. I slept on it. I feel okay about it.
We found out what
okay
side
about
of the
it.
Civil War Brandon's on. It took a
The,
lot
the
of...
winning side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification.
The good side.
There was a lot that came out yesterday
yeah,
that I
it
need
was-
to apologize
It was an exciting
for.
episode.
But today, we're upping the stakes.
Yeah,
That's right.
We're talking about the best film villains of all time.
In our space.
In our space, yeah.
There's some people that we couldn't include. The Hannibal Lecters. The
Nurse Ratched.
The Nurse
Oh,
Ratched.
Mike Myers.
number
Yeah,
one
some of those.
villain.
The Xenomorph we couldn't get on this list. And then we sort of designed this to be property. We have some quadrants of properties. So we didn't get into the sixth best villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or anything like that. We only had 4 from each group.
So our 4 regions, each with 4 candidates: DC, Marvel Studios, Star Wars, and then a miscellaneous category that does have some pretty big, what we think are great pop culture villains.
Yeah.
And we're going to be going one kind of quadrant at a time to get down to our final 4 and then our championship round, right?
That's right.
Yeah, let's go.
Do you want to start?
Okay, first round, we're starting with DC, okay? Yes,
Here we
there
go.
it is. Ooh, look at that.
Hey,
There's a blank.
Evan, that blank should be Palpatine. If we could fill
Over in
that
the
in
Star
whenever we
Wars
have a
one.
second.
Don't you mean Palpatine?
Actually, you know what, John? Maybe that blank is you, the Star
no.
Wars fan.
I am a villain.
Somehow Palpatine will be added
Okay,
to the bracket.
so we're starting here with DC, and again, these are just film villains, and anytime there was multiple portrayals of a particular villain, we will be stating which portrayal. It's not all Jokers. It's a very specific Joker. And so our first matchup, Joker and Lex Luthor. This is the Heath Ledger Joker, #1 seed in my book.
Yeah.
And the Gene Hackman Lex Luthor from the Christopher Reeves
good
Superman movie.
Okay. I will say Lex Luthor in the new Harley Quinn series created a cancer ray. So that's
Whoa.
why I would have chosen
Pretty
Lex Luthor. But if we're choosing
Holy
Joker
cow.
that literally blew up a hospital,
Yes.
like that, this one's that burned a bunch of money, didn't
You know,
need
you
it.
could say he saved a lot of people from cancer.
Wow.
Oh, John.
Get off.
Euthanasia
Get off there
does
right
not count
Get off
as
there right
saving.
now. John,
And I
oh my
believe
God,
this is
John.
the only, actually, a different Joker portrayal has also won an Oscar.
Yeah.
But this was
The
the
hero
first.
of that movie, though, you'd say, right?
Yes, this was the first comic book Oscar win.
Also,
That's
Lex
so.
Luthor with some curly hair. You gotta appreciate that for old Gene Hackman.
new-
before he balled
So,
it all the way.
he wins
I
because
love
of the
me some
hair?
Gene Hackman.
Well, here's the deal. If we were going just like villains, full stop, I would lean Lex Luthor over
Yeah, easy.
Joker, just because I feel like Joker doesn't get the job done a lot of the time.
What?
But I,
comparing the
I think
movies.
if this is specific performances,
Yeah.
I think you gotta go Heath Ledger or Joker
Yeah.
over Lex Luthor.
Yeah,
Come
I don't
on.
think there's much
Come
of an argument here.
on.
You should just kind of
I mean,
put it
it's also, it's been over 40 years. A lot has changed in film, superhero film. It's tough for a performance to have aged super
Sure.
well over
Right.
40
When
years.
the new Lex Luthor comes up and the new DC stuff, then we will choose him.
Yes.
But we've got more Joker.
Okay, so it's unanimous. We're going Heath Ledger, Joker,
I think
I'm sure the
advancing.
chat
That's
said the
fair.
same thing.
I think that's
Okay,
fair.
yes. Maybe there's some Hackman stands. Some Stackmans.
I love Lex
He got
Luthor.
out the game. He retired.
I know, still alive though. Knock on wood.
Gene,
Please.
Gene died during the
Please
middle of this tape.
protect Gene Hackman
Gene.
at all costs. Okay,
Please.
the second half of our DC bracket: Bane, Tom Hardy. Brandon, can we get a little Bane voice?
Oh, I'm giving you your city back.
Pretty bad.
Very good. Very
then
good.
how did
No,
Pretty
no,
bad.
no, it's great.
Do the penguin. Do Danny DeVito penguin.
Oh God, what am I looking at? What are you showing me?
You heard it when he was doing the bit and he was like, I don't think he actually says this in the
No,
movie.
he doesn't.
I don't know.
He doesn't. But it would be better if he did.
So
Sorry, keep
we're
going,
doing
Zach.
the Tom Hardy Bane versus the Danny DeVito Penguin.
Oh,
We
boo.
love
Knows.
the Colin Farrell Penguin.
I love that.
We had the Colin Farrell penguin on this list
Yeah.
for a little while, but then we kind of
not
determined
really
he's
a
not
villain
really
in that
the
movie.
villain.
Yeah, he didn't get enough to do in
He's
the
a
movie.
criminal according to the
Yeah.
eyes of the law.
Maybe in the second, the Batman,
Yeah.
he'll be the main villain.
Yeah.
I mean, ironically, both these characters a little sidelined. I mean, Bane obviously plays a huge part in Dark Knight Rises, but one could argue Talia al Ghul is the real villain of that
shadows.
movie.
Sure,
so-
yeah.
100%.
course.
But we see, I guess, it's been a really long time since I've seen Danny DeVito's The Penguin, to be fair.
I mean-
But I'm like, Bane, we saw kill a lot of people.
Danny DeVito's the Penguin. I'm a young man, but born in 2002. But if I was older and I had been born at a different time, I would have, as a child, be so scared.
I
of Danny
mean,
DeVito.
he straight up
That's
eats
true.
fish.
Yeah.
Like uncooked,
So
raw,
does John.
whole fish.
He arms a bunch of penguins with missiles on their back.
That's
he
pretty
steals
sick.
children.
He bites a man's nose off.
He uses
pretty
clowns
villainy.
to steal children. I mean, just the terror.
I'm leaning Penguin.
I'm
I think like
all
the
in on
hype
Penguin.
of Bane was not paid off for
Okay.
me when that movie came out.
Now,
And you can't hear half of his dialogue.
yeah. And someone pointed out, Bane was smart enough to get all the cops in Gotham stuck underground, which is very smart. And someone on our staff pointed out,
were
maybe
they
that makes
pooping?
him the good guy. I don't know.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah, we
shit.
would never say that.
I don't know.
Brandon, what side of the Civil War are you on?
So actually, this sounds pretty close. It
All
sounds like
cops are
we're
Bane.
a
I
little
like-
split.
I like what you said about all the things that the Penguin did because these are best villains, so they have to do villainy things, and that is a
Right.
very villainy thing. Even if it was like his whole motive was like, I'm gonna blow up the moon, it's like, well, that's a very good villain.
Yes.
Love the movie.
I would give it to Penguin on this.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Let's
I-
advance Penguin.
You wanna use
Absolutely.
No, it's fine.
I mean,
I'll shake it.
Bane
that
is
way.
more memeable, but Penguin, come on.
Also, of all the villains that have gotten some kind of returns lately, all the Spider-Man villains and things like that, we could do with some Danny DeVito putting on the
Now,
old
I
nose
think-
again,
Back.
you know?
Bring it back.
I think he died. Doesn't all the Batman villains pretty much die? Don't they often
those old
die?
movies-
No Way Home.
Yeah.
Oswald Cobblepot, I'm pretty sure. Throw in the chat. Does Oswald Cobblepot die at
have-
the end of Batman Returns?
I'm pretty
we
sure
have
he
poll
does die.
results
He
for
like
that?
falls into the water at the zoo or something. I don't remember.
Sounds right.
That's what killed him. He's
Also,
a penguin and he drowned.
I'm just now realizing Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was in that same movie.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
we make a mistake? Did we pick the wrong villain?
I don't think she's
Is
the
a
villain in that
Isn't
film.
a
It was
villain.
tough.
Isn't a villain.
Yeah.
And which kind
It
of
was
goes
tough.
into our second
Ooh,
one.
the chat was a little split, but they did pick Bane. Too bad.
Pretty close though.
He's-
Again, this is the
know,
7-10 matchup here.
You
Okay?
know what doesn't matter? They're both going to get destroyed by Heath Ledger's Joker in the next round anyway.
That's right. Clear out. Clear out.
Hey, we're going to move on to Star Wars.
Oh.
We're crossing the bracket. Sorry, I
Okay.
thought we'd go down the line.
I did a segue that was like, speaking of that, that actually brings us to our next
But
hero
John
villain.
stepped all
Yeah.
over.
No, I think you still count as hero villains.
Okay, this is a heavy hitter. Again, a 1 seed against a 16-seater
this
or
is-
whatever.
This is
Darth Vader,
I mean,
gonna be
it's-
tough to beat against Moff Gideon, who I really love
He's
as
great.
a villain. He's great.
He's great.
He hasn't been in maybe too many episodes of The Mandalorian. I think maybe over the next few seasons he could really kind of grow.
I'm also now realizing, John, didn't we specifically state this was film
You're
villains?
right. I did say no TV villains, and I broke my own rule.
This is
You want to put Snoke in here instead?
Yes. Can I say also, even
Darth Jar
I think
Jar?
we should go with Vader regardless, but like, remember what he did. Oh, well, I guess that was a series. I was like, remember what he did in Kenobi when he just walked past the innocent people and broke their necks
Yeah.
and
Oh,
kept
Vader.
walking. Vader. I'm like, this man is just ruthless. We gotta.
He's a bad guy.
He's a villain.
Yes.
He's a bad guy.
villainy.
I think the chat's probably 100%.
I mean, you gotta go Vader.
Right.
You gotta
have
go.
to go
You gotta
It's not
go.
even fair.
heavy
Now,
Vader.
Here's what I'll say about Vader.
Go ahead.
You know, Snoke was every voice inside of Kylo Ren's head. So was he really that much of a bad guy? He also gets redeemed at the end.
No, I don't think it's so. Well, but he killed so many innocents. You know, once you do
And
that,
You
kinda
don't
lose
have
it.
by
Anakin Skywalker on
Palpatine.
this. You have Darth Vader. Darth
true.
Vader dies.
Right.
true. That's a
Iconic.
good
I
point.
mean, there's no more iconic villain.
He shouldn't
The
be.
look,
He shouldn't even
the
be
sound.
on this bracket. He's too
Could you
good.
have
for
put?
this
Could you
game.
have put Vader and Kylo Ren? Does
Well,
that
we'll
count?
get to Kylo Ren. We have a second bracket that we're going to do at the back half of the show, and Kylo Ren's on that bracket.
Let's go ahead and tease that, John.
Yeah.
So we want people to stick around. That bracket that you've seen earlier, this is not the only villain bracket we're going to be going through. Should we tell them what the second bracket
Why
is,
not,
or
Zach?
make them stick around?
Why not?
We're going to be doing a separate bracket for the most underused villains of all time.
Rotten.
Yeah, people who had a lot of promise and didn't necessarily shake out the way
Maybe
we wanted them
good
to.
villain, bad movie.
Sure.
Maybe didn't get the storyline they deserved.
Set up really well and
Easy.
didn't get paid off. Maybe killed too early. We don't know.
Yes.
Killed too late.
All right, the next part of the Star
Okay,
Wars
yeah,
bracket.
95-5 Vader.
Ooh, barely.
And it's
That
only
one
the
person.
5% are just people trolling.
Yeah,
That's it.
probably.
That's it.
That's insane. That
Probably.
might have been the most out.
That might be Giancarlo Esposito watching the show.
Come on the
On
show,
those alt
Giancarlo.
accounts.
Hey, Darth Maul, fan favorite, popular dude, got some great moves. Emperor Palpatine. It's another kind of stacked.
Oh, I love both of them.
It's another kind of stacked
I mean, you got
thing.
Palpatine ran both sides of a war.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good for profit.
But I
Yeah, smart guy.
I gotta
maximum
say, just
profit.
for impact. Now, if you don't count his little cameo
Sold
in
more
Solo, and you don't count any of his animated appearances, Darth Maul was a one-hitter. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Came in
It is so
hard, and one movie,
Two
gone.
lightsabers,
And I think
double-sided
if people-
lightsaber.
But
If
the thing
people
is-
are watching the Clone Wars at home, they might pick Maul.
No, that's the thing. He's weak though in Clone Wars, and he goes so fast. It literally Kenobi
Get
beats
him.
him over and over again, and then he finally just succumbs in the desert alone. And he goes to Kenobi, and is like, "Look at you, a rat in the desert," and he's the one that dies. That's why I'm like, Emperor Palpatine, yeah, he dies, but he also comes back. And it's like, what kind of villain dies just and disappears? It's like, no, he comes
Now,
back.
and we do have to take these villains in their totality. So you have to take Rise of Skywalker Palpatine into
Of course.
I'll
consideration
take him.
here.
Of course.
I'll take
Just wanted
him.
to point
I
that
think
out.
He's a genius.
Also, you-
Flying around on that weird gimbal.
Well, and I think Mandalorian is showing us that you need a strong, heavy-handed empire to run a galaxy.
Yeah. I love Darth
Don't you
Maul.
dare.
I think it's what it's
Civil
showing
War
us.
brand.
Don't you
I
get
think it's what it's
fashy
showing
on
us.
this panel.
Also, physicality, it's like they both look like very big villains, but when Darth Maul eventually turns into kind of like a Spider-Man person, or not Spider-Man, but he has like spider legs.
He does.
He gets changed to a spider. He looks like an evil villain.
Yes.
But Emperor Palpatine is just disgusting.
He kind
looks
of
like a
gets
madman.
almost spidery legs, or like definitely mechanical body parts there.
Yeah.
In
Who looks the most
Rise of
familiar?
Skywalker. I do think though I stand for Maul, and I mean that face paint, talk about
Yes.
iconic. But I think you got to go Palpatine.
You gotta go
probably.
Palpatine. The
Plus-
fact that you could shoot lightning out of your hands and then
Yeah.
age 55 years is pretty cool.
Plus, what are we setting up? What's the next round that we're setting up?
It's gonna be a
Vader versus Palpatine.
That's
That
hard.
one's gonna be a
That's
discussion.
hard.
I know what Brandon's gonna go, but that's gonna be a discussion. That's gonna be a discussion.
You'll see.
That's a closer chat vote than I was expecting. 58% said Emperor Palpatine. 41 said Darth Maul. A lot of people's childhoods
That's
right,
right.
are wrapped up in
I
Darth Maul.
love Darth Maul.
Revisionist history.
And like, didn't we all want to be in that lightsaber duel at the
I
end?
mean,
there?
you know what inspired Lightsaber Boy? You know,
Yeah.
it was
called Duel
It's
of the
hard
Fates.
because it's also
Oh,
just it
best
comes.
Star Wars track?
It's not Duel of the Fates.
Imperial. I think it might be.
I think it also comes down to just like it does come down to numbers, you guys. Well, and Emperor Palpatine has killed way more people than Darth Maul
That's
has. And you know who else killed a lot more people than maybe they did? Actually, maybe not. They could have. Our next segment, which is the Marvel Studios one,
Yes,
in which
here
we're
we go.
choosing between a hero and villain story of Killmonger or Wanda Maximoff.
And this is MCU only. We're gonna get into
This
some
is-
other Marvel folks in a minute.
Yeah, so between Killmonger and Wanda, who we arguably, even we defended yesterday when we were talking about Black Panther, are villain and heroes. I want to start with Brandon's take because I kind of want to hear what Brandon's got to say about
I
it.
mean, I gotta lean Wanda on this one. Like, she's a capital V villain, and like all these people trying to make her good, don't make her good. She's bad, and she's got a reason to be bad because everyone's lying to her, and she knows. She saw her kids, and everyone's like, "Wanda, you're crazy." She saw her kids, no one's listening to her, and she's gonna get her way. She's a good villain. She's learning on the fly and really outperforming. You know
I'm
what I
gonna
mean?
I'm gonna devil's advocate and go the opposite direction.
All right.
Ooh.
I think in the totality of screen time, the Lizzie, as her friends
How
call her,
dare you?
Call
How
her
been
Taylor,
given-
You're not her friend.
she has spent far more time as a full-blown hero
That is
than she
true.
has as a villain.
I would disagree.
No, think of
Finish your point.
all Endgame, Infinity
I love
War, Age of Ultron, all that stuff. I mean, well, like the beginning of Age of Ultron, obviously not. But she spent more time as a hero. And again, I think I'm leaning more into these like one film powerhouses like Killmonger, who, yeah, of course, he has his reasoning, and he's kind of like there's some kind of redemption at the end. I mean, best final line, one of the all-time best final lines of any villain in any movie, right?
I mean, he's incredible.
You know, bury me in the water. Whoa,
What were you going to say, John?
You know, well, first of all, I think the runtime of Multiverse of Madness and WandaVision is maybe more than the runtime. Endgame's a long movie, but
Yeah.
you know,
She's a villain for most of WandaVision.
I think she's a villain in WandaVision.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You
think
don't know that
that's
at the time.
most-
You don't know
I
it at
think-
the time,
and
though.
I really, truly think, like, apart from, like, maybe you say Thanos, like, that's one of the most villainous things we've seen any character in Marvel do. She kidnapped an entire town and manipulated all of them and tortured them
and
internally.
To us, that was fake Reed Richards and fake, but to them, it was not. You know?
I think
She had no remorse. And I think, like, you know, Killmonger, you could almost sit there and say, like, I understand entirely where he's coming from, and I might agree with him on a lot of points.
I think that's what John, I think that's a big thing for John, and big thing for it is the motive of making you a villain. And it's like they're both a little justified. Take that with a grain of salt. A little justified, but Wanda's justification is like in losing kids that don't exist.
They do exist.
Okay.
She's seen them.
She's
They
seen
exist
them.
in every
Okay,
other
so
reality.
she's willing to kill everyone for two, and I'm like,
That's a good mom.
that's
the
also a
last
villain.
one.
That's a good
That's
mom.
Emperor Palpatine.
That's she's Joel.
So
That's a good mom.
but versus Killmonger, it's like who would be the more villainous? He
I
was just
can't
trying to
believe-
bring
Whoa.
resources.
I
to
can't
the
believe
people.
we're about
Look,
to move Wanda
look,
on.
look
but I
at this
think-
chat.
Wanda. I think it's
54,
I really
45,
thought, I really
Wanda.
thought Killmonger was going to make it close to the end, but I think
No,
we
I think
have
it's
to move
Wanda.
Wanda.
Gotta
on.
go
I think it's
Wanda.
Wanda.
I think
Gotta go Wanda.
I get another.
I'll concede Wanda, but I will say I think she's getting the benefit of the doubt because Killmonger's not spent any time as a hero. She spent some time as a hero, so like we have this goodwill towards her.
Also, what if Killmonger was
does-
clearly a different motive?
And does her, well, that's true. Does her time spent as a hero make her heel turn to villain more impactful, right? Is that
I mean,
why?
she's one of the few people that's had literally the full circle.
She
Started
wants
villain,
to be good, but
come
then
back to
keep
villain.
lying to her.
Okay, also not to be a devil's advocate, but to the people, the innocent people in that country that she killed a bunch of, they're probably
Sokovia?
like, she's the, not even in
At
Sokovia,
Lagos?
remember at the beginning when she blew up the building?
Yes.
It's like, we made the Sokovia Accords because of her. So I'm not, hey, I love her. I love Wanda. Got her tattooed.
Plus, all of the fruit in that orchard in Multiverse of Madness.
That's right. She rotted. That's
How dare she? Resources.
I
You
know.
know at
Zach's
least
biggest
one
problem.
person in Westview on the outskirts of her little hex who's like having to go through the motions that she's controlling, has a peanut allergy, and she's not thinking about that. And she's like, everyone a couple miles away, they're just eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and some poor guy's
to
like,
counter that.
Are you saying that Darkhold magic doesn't instantly cure
Cure
peanut
your
allergy?
I am saying
To counter that argument, there was a couple in Westview that was going through a nasty divorce, but decided to stay together because there are more things in life than.
she fixed their relationship.
She brought some people closer together.
Okay, our next one, so we have time to go to the others, is maybe a little easier one. Kang and Thanos.
You think Kang could maybe pull this off in 2 or 3 years?
That's right.
Yes.
It's
Too
building
early.
for
It's
it.
too early.
It's too
It's
early,
building
but
for
it
it.
also is like, we saw what he did in Quantumania. We don't know if it
He
was
was
other
great, and
Kangs,
to
but he
be
killed a
honest-
bunch of innocent people from other planets.
He's good as hell in Quantumania.
Yeah,
You
and
could-
he's
you could
definitely
sit there
he's definitely on the
Such a
come
good
up.
villain.
We might not be seeing any more Thanos, at least for a long
Right.
time, right?
Do you
So-
think that the motive with Thanos makes Kang more of a villain? Because Kang is just literally like, I want to take over everything. And Thanos is like, I'm trying to restructure and make the world a better place. I know he's in a bad position of doing it. I'm not a Thanos sympathizer.
I mean, you could say Thanos did nothing wrong. You could also say, dude, just make
Thanos was right.
make more fruit or whatever and feed people. Who gives a
no,
shit?
100.
Good point.
100.
Good point.
We need
and I think
apartments and sustainable, walkable cities.
At the end of the day, I think anybody on this panel or in any panel is going to say like Endgame's in one of their top favorite comic book movies. I don't know that Quantumania has cracked a lot of people's top 5 yet.
Sure.
Maybe we'll reassess in time, but you know, and a big part of that is Thanos, right?
Yeah, and we'll be getting to that question of best
wait,
comic book
are we-
movie on Thursday.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Ooh, good tease, Jen.
I'm voting Kang.
Whoa!
I thought we were voting
Because of
Kang. I'm
some-
so sorry. Until I saw you write Thanos. That's why I was like, oh, maybe we should deliberate.
I gotta go. I gotta go Thanos.
I think right now you go Thanos.
Thanos?
Kang, I'm liking. He's got a lot of promise. Can't
Okay.
wait to see what he does next season.
I mean, we got Thanos on a mug.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Kang
We look
is
at
getting there, and
Kang.
we've seen a lot of range from Kang. A lot of different looks, a lot of different attitudes.
He's young. He's rookie of the
Yeah,
year
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but I do appreciate Thanos' his work ethic. He sticks to his plan.
Stop.
He
You're
sees it through to the
so
end.
Also,
problematic.
some of the best memes of all
Very
time.
memeable.
This meme was great. I mean, the
Hey.
flexing the butt cheeks is.
It's
pretty
not
great
fair
too.
because Kang is so hot, he doesn't get to get memed yet. If he wasn't so goddamn fun.
Ooh, it is closer in the chat than I would have guessed. 63-36
People
for
can see
Thanos.
Kang coming, and I really think that
Sorry, I'm like taking this so
if we did this again in 3 years when Secret Wars is out, we might have a harder.
I mean, maybe some recency
Conversation.
bias too. You know,
Yeah,
2019 has
sure.
been a long time
And
ago.
Thanos technically was able to snap and kill half the population while Kang hasn't gotten to do that yet.
You know what?
Not
That-
until King Dynasty.
That bitch is dead.
And then what?
my
And then
God.
after Secret War, you guys will be saying King.
Oh
You'll
my
be saying
God.
King.
Well, let's jump over to the miscellaneous region, where we've got an exciting lineup of some other Marvel villains you might know. He's got 4 metal arms, 2 human arms, 2 human legs, a mouth and a butthole. It's Dr.
Whoa.
Octavius.
Butthole confirmed?
Butthole confirmed on Doc
And
Ock.
this is not Into the Spider-Verse Doc
This is
Ock.
not.
This is
We're
Tobey
going-
Maguire.
this is Alfred
Spider-Man
Molina?
2, Alfred Molina.
Alfred
I thought
Molina,
you were gonna
Doc
say,
Ock.
and we're not talking about his butthole.
We're
talking
not.
about
We're not. We're not taking
talking about
buttholes
his
into
butthole all I
consideration
Stop
here.
it.
Yeah, we're talking
You
Doc
think
Ock
his
from
butthole has 4 little arms?
Spider-Man 2.
Hey, Thanos because he ain't us, okay?
Doc Ock from
Mouth.
Spider-Man 2, also featured in
love
Spider-Man
him.
No
I
Way
love
Home.
him.
He was
I
the
love
first
him.
one to break
right.
good in that movie. A man of pure intentions, where a computer chip fucked up his brain. He's not doing anything wrong. He's
right.
got a way out.
You're right.
Now another
And then
guy,
you redo. Yeah, at the end, that's true.
another villain I think we can all agree with, Magneto.
Ooh.
I don't know about all agree with.
I think this matchup is going to
Ooh,
be tight.
that's a hard
I think.
one.
Eric
Really?
Lensher, by another name, you might know him.
And this is the Ian McKellen
we're going
depiction.
Ian McKellen,
Yes.
Magnetus here, okay?
Sorry,
This is hard.
Michael Fassbender.
He wanted to make the whole world mutants, baby, so everyone could just get along.
Yeah, this is like a Killmonger situation where it's like we understand his motive and we understand why he's doing it, Magneto, whereas Doc Ock was brainwashed. So are we choosing brainwashing
You're right.
over...
Do you choose the genocidal
Yeah.
maniac or the guy guy who was just like, I don't know, I want to solve.
I
want to solve.
I want the power of the
crisis.
sun in my hand. Like
Well,
that's
he was
a
just
little.
trying to save the world.
That's a little. Yeah. So he says. So he says. We're
I
gonna take him at
think
his word.
I think it might be.
Elon Musk out there saying he's trying to save the
You
world.
know,
You take him at his
I was
word.
putting this together,
Well,
and I
actually-
was like, "There's no shot Doc Ock doesn't win this matchup," and now I'm sitting here.
No,
and I'm like,
I think
Magneto.
Magneto.
You got to
Magneto.
put Magneto through, dude.
Also,
I think you might.
Also, of all the villains, had one of the best squads.
Oh yeah.
Multiple
Brother-
iterations
Squad.
of squads, right? Like not just nameless goons and foot soldiers, right? Vader. I'm talking about like Sabretooth, Mystique, right? Like cool, great
That's true.
characters, you know?
And then the last stand happened, and they gave him bad. You know, the
And then
brother-
then he had nameless.
Whoa, the chat going heavy.
Oh, you gotta go heavy.
That
Magneto.
surprises me.
I
Well,
started.
also Age of Chat. I don't know. I wonder if they're a little bit more
No.
X-Men era
Agents
than
of Chat
Toby.
is a great show, and I love what they do. And I think you could also say, if you read the comics, you'll agree with this. Magneto was right. Okay.
No,
Magneto
that's
was
the
right.
reason why it's so hard to choose. But I think ultimately we need to base this off of villainy activities and villainy things and not origins. Because I'm like, well, I understand why he did it. Same with Killmonger, but Killmonger was still technically the antagonist.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Okay, we're moving Magneto on. You keep
sure?
And now in our next matchup, this is a wild one, folks. Strap on your boots. We got
heard
the
that.
Green Goblin. We're going with Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, I take
Yes.
it?
Yes,
Yeah, easy.
of course.
Not the Amazing Spider-Man
Yeah,
Green
yeah,
Goblin.
yeah, no, so- and not Spider-Man 3 Green Goblin either. Or
Yeah.
was he technically a Green Goblin in that
He
movie?
was
James
Green
Franco?
Goblin
yeah,
too.
James Franco.
Second
Yeah.
reiteration. Now coming in off the bubble, guys. No one saw this happening,
I really like this villain.
and because
It's my fault.
John made the bracket and got in, I don't know how else to say it. Syndrome.
One of the most underrated superhero movies of all time. Maybe it's not, but
I
we
think
don't
it was
talk
very
about
well rated.
We don't talk about it. The Incredibles, what a great movie.
Right.
And Syndrome
Oh,
is.
I'm such an idiot. I was
So you
thinking
don't
of
know who
Jake
it was?
Gyllenhaal's character. Oh, keep going.
Mysterio?
Right. No, John is
Oh,
on. John
Mysterio's
is
cool.
John is actually telling the truth.
Syndrome. Great villain.
literally killed every other hero. When it starts going through the Rolodex of who's deceased, he killed every hero except for the Incredibles. That's insane. All because of one superhero telling him that he couldn't be a superhero. That is evil villainy brain.
And
I'm stuck on this. You're right.
Part of being a great villain is being a good foil for your protagonist, and I think that like the relationship between Mr.
right.
Incredible and Syndrome is like so good.
created-
Their history,
also
he
that-
created
in a
them.
Batman-esque way, he created his own
and,
villain.
And that movie and that villain kind of presaged some of like fandom turning toxic, and
absolutely.
that
He
theme that is bubbled
killed
up.
And I
Everyone
really
in
think
that
that The
universe.
Incredibles was sort of the genesis. People talk about, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man being the genesis for this kind of renaissance of superhero movies, but like I don't think we give enough
Yes.
credit to The Incredibles.
Yeah.
I think
Like,
everyone agrees.
Now,
that's the only good Fantastic Four
We are,
movie
we
that's
are
ever been
puffing
made.
up Syndrome considering he's about to lose because
Are
the
you
other
serious?
half of this is the,
I mean, the
Willem
Green
Dafoe.
Goblin. Green Goblin is one of the most iconic villains.
Yeah.
He is a
Ever.
villain.
Off
what-
air, we were just talking about how good the end of Spider-Man is,
Oh
where
my
he gets
God.
killed by the glider.
Well, and I think his work in No Way Home, too, you got to take that in consideration.
Really good.
The best thing about Green Goblin is you don't know if he's lying or not.
right, and
I don't think that-
you don't know who you're
Yeah,
getting.
I don't think at any point in that movie there was ever Norman Osborn. I think it was always the
Maybe.
Green Goblin in No Way Home. It was the long con he's playing, right? Like
Yeah, you were really on
Green
that.
Goblin is smart. Again, this is just another man with a plan. You can agree he was an evil capitalist, sure, but yeah, the toxins got in his brain and now he's all screwed
right,
up.
but he did that to himself.
Right.
Right, and Doc Ock. I mean, he did it to himself.
Green
too,
Goblin-
Still
but I
made him a
think-
villain though.
But
even
Green
though he
Goblin
did.
beat Spider-Man.
Also,
He beat him.
you could argue he was a villain even before the toxins. He was a capitalist.
I just said it.
Wow.
I just said
Reusing-
it.
Let's talk
reusing
about.
jokes.
let's-
The chat is a little too heavy on Green Goblin for my liking.
John,
I think we should
John, you
bring
had your
Wow,
moment.
okay.
Green Goblin. on.
I
if
think-
you put Syndrome against someone else, I have written papers on this that I was like, this is the hardest Disney villain that's not like Marvel Cinematic Universe or Star Wars.
Yes.
I'm like, this is a Disney movie that came out when we were kids, for kids, and it shows how he killed every superhero in that universe. That's insane.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Also, Green
Great
Goblin
scene.
was a
Loved
villain
it.
because even before he took the toxins, he was a capitalist.
Oh, thank you. That's a good
That's a
point.
good joke.
That's a good point.
Do you want to?
I'm glad someone made that
Should
point.
we even talk about this next matchup?
Well, real quick, I want to do before we go into the next matchups. I want to everybody shout out who didn't make this list? Like your favorite that is not listed here? Because there's a lot of really good ones, right? Even
Easy Poison Ivy, dude.
Ooh.
Let's remember that Poison Ivy is literally a terrorist.
I'm gonna do something we don't. I'm gonna do something we don't normally do. on the
we are.
Breakroom.
He's on my mug. I think in time we're gonna look back on Paul Dano's Riddler with a lot of esteem, right? Like I think that's a good recent example.
Yeah, we should have put more like
You know,
human villains.
you got your Zemo, you got your
Baron Zemo
Ultron.
is like, I really like Baron Zemo. What he was able to do, he beat the Avengers, he destroyed them. Like
From the
he's a very clever dude. And then like when he's he pretends to be like good again to like get his way.
He's got a great dance.
Right, he's got a great dance.
Some of the people we didn't put on this list: Vulture, Namor, who's great, Loki, who kind of turns good. So
we had a
didn't
big debate
include
about
him.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of, which is probably the hardest, is so many in DC. So many villains in DC that everyone in DC is basically a villain, so it's hard to choose. But you chose the four tops. You chose the four tops.
I think like someone like Ra's al Ghul is like a great villain. Or even Talia al Ghul, right?
Yes.
They're both really good villains.
I really fuck
Scarecrow.
with Scarecrow.
I was gonna say Scarecrow's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good.
Cillian
Scarecrow's
Murphy.
real good.
And again, if there are some popular villain names that you haven't heard yet, they might be coming up in our next bracket too. Should we move on to the round of 4?
Yeah, should we just?
Round of 8.
I'm gonna choose Joker.
It's pretty easy.
Joker, Penguin.
Yeah, I think we gave the Penguin his due. Apologies to Bane, but I think Joker beats out Penguin.
Can you say it? Can you say it?
Penguin?
No, I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the Joker, baby.
That's the Joker that we're
That's the
talking
Joker we're
Wait,
taking.
I'm taking this
Move on.
back. I'm
And we were doing the combined might of all Jokers. Good God, can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, hey. This one's tougher, and I know where Brandon is, but hey, Vader versus Palpatine, student versus master.
Where is he at?
I mean, you
He's
gotta
gonna
go.
choose
You gotta
Vader
go
every
Vader.
time.
Vader
Really?
is like the all-time best.
That
You've
is
got
true.
the
All-time
person
best.
who started it all, right? You created
He's
Vader.
not doing the dirty
That's
work.
true. That's true. That's true. He started it.
I will say when they faced off in the actual movie,
Yeah.
Vader came out on
Vader
top.
wins.
Now he did die.
a little younger.
It
afterwards,
cost him
but,
everything.
yeah.
He's a little younger, you know? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Vader is just so iconic. The look, the sound, the red
But
lightsaber,
so is Emperor
the
Palpatine.
fear.
He goes.
Yeah,
The
but no
lighting
one's
is
like,
pretty badass.
yeah,
That's
it's
villainy.
badass, I guess. But
I will
like,
say screen time, right? Like Palpatine is not a huge presence in those
Right.
films. He's an important presence. He's always looming.
No,
But
and you're right. I think Sheev has a worse story in the prequels than Anakin does. I'm less interested in Sheev than I am.
She
Obviously-
never says wizard, I'll say that much.
Obviously, the prequels are sort of just about Anakin in general, but
She loves sand. It gets everywhere. That's why she loves
it's his
it.
favorite. Yeah, I mean, I think Vader feels like the right choice here.
I'll go
even though
with whatever you guys
Palpatine,
want.
Vader.
They're both
Palpatine
very
is
good.
like the guy. He's
That's
the
right.
guy, and I think we're getting it more Palpatine, and that might put him into like, with the Mandalorian, it might put him into a different frame of reference.
Hey.
But
I wrote fan fiction about
Vader's
Vader
good.
that I said on this show, and
It's
it was
true.
a great fan
was.
fiction.
I will say, and this might be a hot take, I don't like the Vader that we've been getting. I don't love the Vader in Rogue One. I know people love that scene in the
What?
hallway, which is a good scene.
what don't you love about it?
I just think he's like a little too like.
Badass.
No.
Good at his job?
In Kenobi, I was like, you could be more Vader in this show.
I loved him in Kenobi.
He's
He
like-
took down that ship so nicely and swiftly. It was like, okay.
I don't know, but he got tricked by a dummy ship. He couldn't feel the fucking presence of any of the life
But he
forms on
still
that
took
ship.
it
Got a lot
down.
going on.
I
He's
was
got a
like,
lot
come
He was
going
on,
on.
snapping
Vader,
all the
you're
necks of the
Vader.
people on the. He was too busy. He was busy.
Yeah, he's got stuff to do. He's got emails to answer.
I'm
busy
burned.
man.
I'm burned by Kenobi.
I love Vader, but I do love Palpatine. Good job.
Palpatine. Okay.
Okay, so next, a little hard one maybe, depending
Yeah.
on where you sway. Wanda and Thanos.
Now you could argue that Wanda would kick Thanos'
Oh,
ass.
100.
Without a chance.
Easy.
Yeah.
She was doing great. She was holding up her own when she
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
fighting in Endgame and the first one.
I think you could say like Wanda has the power set to be a bigger villain than Thanos.
100.
But Thanos accomplished more in his
Yes.
time in the MCU as a
100.
villain.
I agree with that.
Right.
And I think it's gonna be hard to give this to Wanda from my
I
perspective.
agree with that.
Yeah. I see what you're saying there. He did a good villainous thing. She's still learning the ropes. She's kind
Give
of
her some time.
villainy on the fly. We got to see like her planning as a villain in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Little Two-Face action. Oh, I'm actually good. Just kidding. I'm bad. I'm the one behind all this. Great stuff. Love to see it.
She's a bad liar.
A lot of potential.
I'll also say my henchman corollary. I mean, Corvus Glaive.
Glaive.
Come on.
Great.
But
If
more
you have
importantly,
Carrie Coon as your henchman.
Nebula, Gamora
Yeah.
at different points, right? Like he's got a good squad
He's got a
underneath
good
him.
ship.
Alright.
You gotta go
He's got-
Thanos.
I
He's
think
got
we're all voting
nameless
Thanos.
henchmen. It's all good
We're
stuff.
getting to a good Final Four here.
Yeah.
It's so nerve-wracking because I was like, if we went with Palpatine, I think it would be a little bit easier. But since we went with Vader, I'm like, ooh.
Now we have Magneto versus Green Goblin here in the miscellaneous region.
I think
Boy,
it's
oh boy, oh boy.
Magneto.
My heart is
I
with
think you're
Magneto.
right. I think you're
Wow.
right. Yeah.
This
My
is
heart's with
wild.
Yeah, we
Magneto.
might need to go to the chat because this one feels really tight. Magneto or Green Goblin? I'm kind of leaning Magneto too.
We had, to be fair, or maybe this is just me. We had more time with Magneto with a bunch of different
Sure.
properties, so that's why I see more of him destroying people easier than Green Goblins did. Green Goblin. sorry.
Green Goblin? Jesus Christ.
My mom told me she watched the show recently, and I was
oh,
concerned.
boy.
I think here's my thing with
Why'd you
Green
have to
Goblin.
make it dirty, John? It
She
could have
said
just
Green Gobbles. I don't know.
could just
you
be
know.
a turkey.
Well, all right.
Gobble gobble.
Green Goblin was like the first time I saw a villain be truly unhinged.
Yeah.
And Magneto is a villain on the other side of the spectrum. Very
He's more
calculated,
composed.
composed,
yeah.
planning.
Regal.
Yeah.
Green Goblin's not convincing anyone to join his cause, right? He's a maniac.
He doesn't-
He's pooping in the
You
corner.
know what?
He's eating dead birds. Like he's a weirdo, right?
When did he eat a single
Magneto.
bird?
They cut it out. Check the.
You get
scenes.
a classically trained actor like
Oof.
Ian McKellen,
Yeah.
right, to portray Magneto in this kind of
I
regal,
mean,
almost
Will Dafoe's
Shakespearean.
pretty classically
Oh, of
trained.
course. But the way Ian McKellen plays Magneto is like as like a Shakespearean
Yeah.
character almost,
I
right?
He
think being
convinces
able-
people to join his side. He wins
Yeah.
you over.
I think being able to do that makes you a really good villain. Being able to like be like, hey,
Yeah.
don't you want this kind of life instead? And Green Goblin was a little
Plus,
bit
he
of
I
can
think
use
that-
his abilities to stop your blood flow for a second, causing extreme pain, just to remind you who's in charge.
My sort of like my concession for Magneto a little bit is that him and Professor X was such a good
Sure.
not to be too literal, but like such a good chess match between those two characters for so long. Wow, this is crazy.
That's insane.
Personally, for me, it's Green Goblin. He's in my nightmares, and when I was a kid, like this was the prototype of a villain.
That's interesting because as a child
but-
I was way more afraid of Magneto.
Yeah,
You
I will
stopped
review
You know,
this.
and the worst thing about Green Goblin, before he even took the serum, he was a capitalist.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're
Jeez
losing your
Louise.
argument only because of Zach. And I feel so bad. I'm so
I
sorry.
appreciate chat right now for turning villain against John and destroying all his picks. That's my favorite thing.
I want to see
okay.
Green Goblin
Wow.
eat a bird on the street. Can someone draw that for us?
This is what is shaping up to be. I think a lot of these picks have been maybe a little easy. It's going to be a slobber knocker here in the final.
This
four.
one is
know.
so
Now-
Joker, Vader, and Magneto are so confused. Like I don't know. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I can't choose between Vader
Real
and
quick,
Magneto.
before we get to the final four, we want to shout out a couple of folks that have helped us bring this episode to you. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, or are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? What are you, a capitalist?
That doesn't make sense.
I was gonna make it anyway.
Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. Actually, we're all capitalists and we want to save money. That's why we switched to Mint
There
Mobile.
you go.
Hey, they sell premium wireless service online only, so they don't got to pay for stores and stuff like that. It saves them money. They pass the savings on to you. Plans starting at just $15 a month. You can save even more. You got a great service. You can keep your phone. I'm a little discombobulated. My joke hits so hard. It scrambled my own
Keep your
brain.
phone. Keep your number.
That's
keep your
right.
contacts.
That's
all the
right.
things you love to do.
All the things. We have multiple people on staff that have switched to Mint Mobile, love the service, save a lot of money every month, and are still have their phone, do everything they need to do. They just pay a lot less for it. They've got the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Switch easily in minutes with eSIM. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, you get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/breakroom. That's mintmobile.com/breakroom. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/breakroom.
Whoa.
And
Amazing.
our friends at TurboTax. Go to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Meet with an expert who'll do them for you. That sounds better. TurboTax experts can relieve you from the stress of taxes and file for you so you can do not taxes, do something else. Show your eyes things that are not taxes. Unpack a moving box of not taxes. Taste not taxes. Sing not taxes a lullaby. Hope not taxes sleeps through the night. Grab a saddle and ride not taxes into the sunset. Oh. With TurboTax, an expert will do your taxes from start to finish, ensuring your taxes are done right, guaranteed. So you can relax. Feels good to be done with your taxes, doesn't it? It does. Come to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. Intuit TurboTax. Full service products only. Video meeting while expert does your taxes required. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Thank you to both those companies for helping us bring the break room to you. Now, that juicy final four.
Yeah. Let's do
I
it.
forget that this is specifically Heath Ledger Joker, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
that's why I keep forgetting.
Yes.
Joker versus Thanos.
I think you gotta go with
Joker
Thanos,
versus
right?
Thanos. Oh my God.
This could be the final, by the way. This is an early matchup.
It's
I feel
tough.
Like, for these
It's
two.
not fair
It's tough.
because
Joker
he's like
gets-
a human.
Yes, Joker gets one movie, but in the argument, right, Joker
Kinda
does
changed.
win. He wins in that movie because in the end, the Dark Knight Batman is turned into the villain, as we all know, that lovely speech at the end. But he gets his point across, and he does it. He's not a capitalist, okay? Maybe that makes him a
That's
hero.
true. He's an anarchist.
He burns the money. He shows that the people of Gotham are actually good in the end because they don't blow each other up on the
you-
ferries. He brings the city together.
Get out of here.
Do you think because of
He's a good guy.
that, because
He's a
his
good guy.
yeah, do you think because Thanos' motive is like not as hard as Joker's, Joker would be a better villain because he's just like hardcore? Like Thanos is also hardcore, but you don't see him like straight up trying to set a
Joker
building
is
on
like
fire.
a microcosm, right? He's
Yeah.
not trying to take over the world of the universe, just this little
right.
thing. Thanos is also not trying to take over. He's just
Yeah.
trying to set things right and go retire.
One thing I like to, I'm going to lean Joker here, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I like, as in that portrayal of the Joker, he was not given a coherent backstory. There's so many mysteries and dark spots there. He doesn't fully explain himself and his
Or
motives.
how
right?
he got his scars.
That's right, and it's purposeful.
does explain it.
It's purposeful to keep him scarier, to
Three
keep him
different
more mysterious, right? All this kind of stuff. Whereas Thanos, again, great portrayal, but because of all the backstory, we flash back to Titan and we see it, all this kind of stuff. We understand him so much. It's all kind of explained and laid out in a really logical way. I love the illogic, the insanity of Joker.
Now, there is a moment where every day Heath Ledger Joker is going into the bathroom and putting on the makeup and being like, oh, I screwed that up, wiping it off. Like that's a little silly when you start thinking about it.
I mean, he has to
thinking about
sew.
that.
He has to sew into his purple
He's
coat.
gotta sew the grenades in.
Grenades. I
But
mean,
to
he's-
please-
He's
He's doing
got
a lot of
someone for
prep
that.
work.
He's got all the guys with the masks.
doing a lot of
to
prep
play,
work.
To play devil's advocate, but I do
Oh.
agree with your Joker. I do believe with your Joker. I agree with it too. Thanos did steal children. Thanos did steal children and destroy
point.
planets.
So did Gore the God Butcher.
But he's not on this list. But Thanos, I like the villainy aspect of like, I'm gonna destroy this planet, but I'm gonna take this one individual child, and I'm gonna force my other child to fight them, and then take pieces of her body apart.
Yes.
And
It's pretty
re-put them
messed
back.
up.
Yes.
It's pretty messed up. I think that the Joker, and you can maybe make this argument for Thanos too, the Joker changed comic book movies forever.
Sure, sure.
And changed movies forever. And like, if you take the Joker out of that movie, it's like you look at Batman Begins and you look at The Dark Knight Rises, and those two movies are fine. But like, what makes The Dark Knight one of the best comic book movies of all time, if not one of the best movies of all time, is Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker.
I agree.
It's
I
like,
agree.
it's insane.
because I think there's not a wrong pick here. These are two really
Yeah.
good candidates. Brandon?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh. I think I would go Thanos.
Ooh, okay. Jessica?
To play devil's advocate, I love Joker, but I'm going Thanos.
What?
He
John?
tear apart his daughter.
I gotta say Joker. He got me into this genre.
Yeah.
Joker
I don't
gang.
know.
Joker gang.
and if we go to the
And
audience,
if I had to delete one of those movies,
Right.
I would probably delete.
Who's asking you to
Endgame.
delete a movie,
I'm
John?
trying to
Get
think
out
about
of here.
Endgame.
No one's
Okay,
telling
I
me.
so
want
I
to
think
keep the Dark Knight.
I think
love
it's a
Endgame so
2-2
much.
split, but with the audience,
Go audience
leaning
pick.
Joker, Joker moves on to the championship
I'm fine
round.
with
That's
that.
fair.
I love
That's
it.
fair.
I like both of them. They
Yes.
both are evil in their great ways.
Again,
Joker put a
Depends
pencil
suck.
through someone's head.
Not a
a
bad
magic
pick.
trick.
Okay, in the
Well,
other
let's
half
stop
of the
doing that.
bracket,
It's bad.
in more of our kind of evil leader
Yeah.
bracket here.
Oh, yeah.
Vader versus Magneto.
Now here's the deal.
This is not easy.
I've got Magneto on my lock screen, dog. I stand Magneto. Great. Love his work. Love what he does. Appreciate the white hair. It's all great. Love the helmet. Love the costume. Everything's great. Vader is a better villain than Magneto. Vader's so good as a villain. He's the prototype villain. He changed villains.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
He's great.
I got to go Vader on this.
My only
I
knock
got to.
against Vader is that there's been so much Vader that it's kind of watered him down. a
Sure,
little bit.
sure.
Not that there's not been a lot of
Yeah.
bad Magneto too, but like,
Also, no, keep going.
no, that's sort of.
I agree with you.
You know, there's some
completely.
bad Vader out there.
Also, not to be that person, but the Vader at Disneyland is kind of stupid.
Well, that's Disneyland.
We're
Yeah.
counting it. No, I'm joking.
Have you seen the Kang at Disneyland? I appreciate the work you're doing, sir,
Did
but
you see
it
the
ain't that.
Moana?
It
Did you
ain't
see the
that.
Moana? We'll get into it.
Oh, speaking of villains, we left off of this list Moana.
Whoa!
I'll go with the mask because I can't choose. I love it's so disgusting how in love I am with Magneto.
What did the chat
He's my
say?
favorite villain.
I'm gonna guess they're gonna lean heavy Vader, right?
Yeah,
Vader.
I think
Even
so.
though we might be.
I was shocked they picked Magneto over Green Goblin. So they might love a little Magneto.
I was not surprised about that.
now, real quick. If
Skewed.
running
pretty
away
heavy.
with
Okay.
it, Vader.
Vader's like all-time greatest villain.
Now,
I
let
get
me
it.
real quick ask: would anybody's vote be different if it were Michael Fassbender's Magneto? No.
Absolutely not.
Oh, I was including it.
I mean, it was good to see some of the work he did.
I love
I love that Magneto, going around the world, finding Nazis, killing them. Slowly moving that coin through that man's brain was...
Yep.
That's a Magneto move
Also,
right there.
Michael Fassbender in First Class choking. What's her name?
Are you thinking of
with
Shame
the-
or are you thinking of First
No,
Class?
I was gonna say.
No, the crystal. What's her name?
Oh, Emma
January.
Frost?
Yeah, Emma
Yeah,
Frost.
yeah, yeah.
I was like,
January
that was
Jones?
insane.
Yeah.
They were like, please stop, and he was like, I'm gonna
Well,
make
and
it
First
forward.
Class does a great job of showing like why Magneto's right, and like he's like, no, these humans need to be taught a lesson. They're never
He
gonna
said,
let it
were
go.
you thinking of Shame? How
Now
dare
we've
you?
only got a few more minutes. Should we pick the winner now or move on to
I
our
like
sort of?
waiting it till the end.
You want to wait till the
You wanna
end?
wait
and
till
move on
after
to
the other bracket?
Why don't we
Okay.
zip through this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're moving on to a new bracket. We're going to pick our villain at the end. Reminder, that's Vader versus the Joker, which, I mean, if you probably Googled, like, best villains of all time, those are probably your one and your two.
Yeah, they've had multiple iterations.
Real quick, I want to call out a couple super chats.
Oh, thank you.
Just because this one stuck out. Quentin wrote in Anne of Green Goblins.
Oh, God.
I love
Read
that
it.
movie.
Everyone read that
I
list,
love
didn't
it.
Clinton, you
Trash
dog.
bag
It's the
put
Green
in
Goblin.
Thanos was right. Hey, you're not the first to say that. And then Jamie Riley saying, Vader because I'm obsessed with my galaxy far, far away. Love you all so much for these fun times. Hey,
Yeah.
love you right back,
It's
Jamie
all that
Riley.
espresso. I
And
took.
if you want this in person, we're going to be at WonderCon on Friday. We
right.
won't do a Breakroom show on Friday. We're all going to be in Anaheim, so we won't be doing this on Friday. But if you missed your Breakroom and you're in the area, come see us. Come say
Yeah.
hi.
and
absolutely.
Heim of Green Goblins. Okay. Keep
Okay, let's rock and roll. This is the most underused villains of all time. People who maybe we wanted a little bit more of, or maybe we love them in the comics and they didn't quite translate to the screen in the way we would have liked. And this is sort of we're gonna also do the same thing where we're gonna kind of pick which iteration we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Right,
this
okay.
is DCEU Zod versus
okay.
DCEU Lex Luthor.
This
Oh,
is
okay.
Michael Shannon versus
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, well, is this fair to tell me if this is fair to say? I didn't
Anything's
really
fair.
want more of Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, but I do think I didn't get enough of Michael Shannon as Zod.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, look.
They kind of
when-
brought him back in
when-
Batman versus Superman.
Well, and they're bringing it
Yeah.
back in
they're
the
bringing him
Flash.
back in
Yeah,
Flash.
That's what I'm excited. I'm excited for
Yeah,
him in
so, hey.
Flash. That's why I'm happy.
I mean, it
I
seems
think-
like the creatives at Warner Brothers are like, this is the most one of our
Yeah.
most underused.
I think you gotta go Zod.
I like
yeah.
Zod.
Right?
You know what I'll say? I know that the casting of Jesse Eisenberg
Yeah.
was controversial when
Right.
it happened. I saw a version of him that was great. great in that role, and we didn't get it, which is why he's on this list.
There's a little bit more social network.
Yeah, right.
maybe?
Like I saw what they were going for, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
But I think you got to move Zod on.
Yeah, I like Zod. I like
You
Good call.
got, you know, and
Good call.
I don't.
Zod
Who
on?
said it on our call this morning that like, you know, he forced Superman to do the one thing that Superman doesn't do because they were done with that character, but it was just like we didn't need to be done with him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great stuff.
Does someone else want to continue, or should I go down the list?
I can do this one.
Yeah.
I can do the Marvel one.
Yeah, you
This
do it.
one, very passionate about Ultron. Sexy ass robot Ultron.
This is
Or
hard.
Taskmaster.
This is
Right.
hard.
Now, you guys know I love Taskmaster. I have brought
Yeah.
it up a million times because Taskmaster is one of the greatest in the comic books and is meant to go against Daredevil time and time again and kick their ass and work. And this is how Echo got her ability to fight, was watching Taskmaster and Daredevil fight all the time. Taskmaster wasn't given the opportunity I needed in Black Widow.
And I think the most-
same with Ultron in Age of Ultron.
We got more Ultron in What If, who wasn't really the
true.
Ultron that we
No, it was
know.
more
'cause
the
he was,
Vision Ultron,
You know, there are rumors that Ultron might be coming back. In the
Sure.
future.
We know,
Stuff that we know
Taskmaster's coming back in Thunderbolt.
But
I think
Taskmaster has
Ultron-
potentially been redeemed. Had
Sure,
a
might
face
be-
turn at the end.
and is going to be in Thunderbolts for sure.
There'll be a good / bad guy.
I also think Ultron made more of an impact than Taskmaster could possibly do. That's why I think Ultron should be the one that comes
Yeah,
back.
I agree. Also, Ultron, definitely creepier.
Yeah.
Definitely evil.
It's kind of hot.
Here's what I'll say.
What
I
the
like
fuck.
I like Ultron as a character.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I think they missed the opportunity in the film to really showcase the like changing bodies. Like they kept changing bodies, but it looks so
They looked
similar
very
this
similar.
time. Like final form wasn't that much different than everything else we had seen. But I kind of lean Taskmaster on this one because like
Go ahead, baby.
Ultron is kind of
Go ahead,
like
baby.
big capital V villain, like always trying to take over the world, always trying to make these bots can make all the things as a machine, as AI.
Yeah,
It's
we
kind of
didn't
one
get any
note
of
to
that.
me. I kind of like what Taskmaster has
no,
here, where it's like
Taskmaster-
Taskmaster can slip in and out.
No,
of, like,
Taskmaster has
villainy.
no agency. She's a mind-controlled
In this
character.
version we've been given.
And so that's
That's
my
why
point
she's-
for Ultron, is that
Okay.
Taskmaster is going to be impossible, in my opinion, to redeem in the MCU. Whereas Ultron, we could get more of
could get a
Ultron and be
redemption?
fucking hyped
Okay.
for Ultron.
James Spader doesn't even have to hit the gym. Just
No.
got to show up in the VO booth. Okay?
I don't even need
That's
James
why
Spader,
he's
to be
so
honest
hot. Oh, no. I wanted to be James Spader.
Okay,
I can't
Ultron.
believe you shamed me in front
Ultron
of
moving on?
everyone who's live.
Ultron moving on.
with you.
Okay, in the over in the Star Wars bracket, Kylo Ren versus Snoke.
Can we loop in the Knights of Ren under Kylo Ren?
No.
Kind of.
Wait, why can't we?
'Cause
We've
that's
been
part
bringing
of his
Vader as
story.
kind of people. right?
Yes, but I think it's got to be Snoke though. We got 3 movies of Kylo Ren.
Yeah,
It's hard.
I mean, when in that first movie when they're like showing Snoke as a hologram and it's like a huge hologram, and you're
He's
like,
15
oh,
feet
why didn't
tall.
everyone
So
think to do this
cool.
before? Like that was like a fun reveal. But yeah, it never amounted to much with
He did
Snoke.
unceremoniously get killed
Yeah.
off in
It's-
The Last Jedi, only to be. Oh no. Was it The Rise of Skywalker he dies in?
Yes.
So he dies in The Last Jedi in the throne room and the slice and the blade and then.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then in the Rise of Skywalker, it's Palpatine.
Well,
saying he
and that's
was
kind of the knock against Snoke I would give here is that Snoke's whole purpose is to be a patsy that Palpatine is
Transitionary,
using to
yeah.
like kind of diffuse what he's doing over on the side. He's like, oh, they'll think he's the new bad guy when I'm still the bad guy. She.
Okay.
And I will say, right, the Mandalorian again is going to give a little bit more juice
Sure.
to Snoke than Kylo Ren. I expect, right? We're getting some of
Yeah,
that.
I feel like I
backstory
got
for
enough Kylo Ren.
I think when it comes to wasted time, I got enough.
Snoke. Yeah, I think like
we never
one-
got to see Snoke shirtless, which I think was a miss.
You know what?
calling
Right,
it-
now I'm
he's
going
working
back to
on
And
Kylo
we're calling
Ren.
this underused.
Yeah.
And I think Kylo did get used. He had more potential, maybe.
Yeah.
But it didn't ever get
Yeah,
paid
maybe
off.
yeah, it could be underused, could be done dirty.
Mine's
Could be
looking
another way to phrase this. And then our final matchup here, two different Marvel villains.
Dude.
Galactus. Now this is the only
Cloud
film Galactus.
Galactus.
Cloud Galactus from Fantastic Four stick. And
No, that's a
No,
different one.
it's from Fantastic Four: The
sorry.
Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Rise of Silver Surfer. Apologies. Doom was in Fantastic Four stick.
Which is also
Yeah, you could argue.
We almost put him
And
on.
then this is this
This is
This is Topher Grace.
Topher Grace
Grace.
Venom.
Oh, so sorry. I didn't mean to
Topher
laugh
Grace
like
Venom,
that.
who was
I didn't mean to
the
laugh like
Grace.
that.
Spider-Man
11th
3.
was the 11th villain in that
Yeah.
movie.
Honestly, this is a good matchup because he was very wasted in that movie. Topher
Yeah.
Grace's Venom. I didn't get anything from that,
Right.
dude. And I rewatched it recently, and I was like, come on, Topher.
And really,
kinda
he's only Venom in the third act,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because-
not a long
Exactly.
time.
Because
Villain.
Toby has the.
That's
symbiote suit
interesting.
For a while.
That's true.
Now, and I'm kind of a defender of Cloud Galactus because I think this was a smart idea for the movie to be like, it's early 2000s. We're gonna have a hard time getting people to wrap their heads around a man in space, like a giant man in space consuming planets. And you know, comic books movies were still kind of transitioning out of the like X-Men, we all wear black leather, comic books are kind of silly, we're not gonna wear the costumes, into like what, you know, Batman Begins would bring, where it's like, what if these existed in our world? And This was like a smart move to make Galactus a cloud conceptually. I think it's very smart.
Yeah.
Now, for comic book fans, what a letdown, right?
Yeah, it
we
was
want to see the man in space eating planets. So yes, I think highly underutilized. And
got-
then-
who got-
And you
more
know,
time.
just because Galactus is like not a great iteration in that film, and we've had so many Marvel films up until this point,
Right.
and we
And they're all
haven't
afraid-
seen
they're all
another
afraid to do Galactus.
except for like a little bit of a wink and a nod
Yeah.
in that episode of What If. I'm leaning Galactus only because you could see a world where there was a Spider-Man 4
Let-
and there was a Topher.
Let's
Venom
call it.
episode.
We also Venom
yeah.
got his redemption.
I just
He's
want to
now-
say,
barely.
because I was going Venom, I'm basing this off of not what I want, but what I think in the movie they didn't get enough of. And I think that's why I was going Venom.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I clearly want Galactus. I want Galactus so damn bad.
Right.
But I'm like, I didn't get Venom until like the third act, which is very true. But yes, the masses Galactus.
Okay, and then we'll kind of plow through these because we want to get back to our main bracket here.
I think this one's easy.
Zod versus Ultron.
Ultra.
Said
Ultron,
Ultron
baby.
through
That's
Ultron,
right.
right?
That's right. And your
Ultron.
boy. And then Snoke or Galactus? Cloud Galactus.
That's interesting.
I have my pick.
What's your pick?
My pick is Snoke.
would-
I think they set him up.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't like The Force Awakens. I kind of enjoyed all of the character work that they did in that movie. I thought all of the characters that were introduced in that film were really good. Maybe you say that, you know, Leia, Luke wasn't really in the movie, and Han were a little done dirty, but all the new characters I thought were great. I thought they set up some really cool villains, and it just didn't work for the rest of the movies.
I agree.
So for me, I like Snoke.
I agree with you, Snoke.
Yeah, I'm fine
I'll
with
go
it.
Snoke.
Snoke, too.
Also, I don't think anybody has that strong of feelings about anything from
you have to
Rise of
push
Silver
it
Surfer.
Yeah.
Dumb as hell.
Okay, and then the final in our done dirty, most underused villains of all time bracket: Ultron or Snoke.
I don't know. Is it still Snoke?
I think
It sucks because I don't really have
I still
that-
think it's Ultron because
Yeah.
Ultron shouldn't
Yeah.
have been defeated so easily.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think now
He's
Marvel
going back.
knows, oh, we can, you know, like a Thanos, right? You can stretch it out over multiple stories.
I don't have
You don't have to kill him off right away.
I don't have much of a concept on Snoke too much because I only saw him a little bit. Not that big on Star Wars, I'm sorry guys. But Ultron also is like such a big part of Secret Wars and we kind of got rid of him.
And I think too, like Ultron has this weird history because we thought we were getting one version of him from the Age of Ultron trailers,
Yeah.
and we thought we were gonna get like an Age of Ultron, and we got like a couple minutes.
Right.
And so yeah,
Hardly
I
an
think,
age.
I think What If kind of showed you what an Ultron could
Yeah.
do, and obviously if you read the comics, it's like Ultron is like always
the
the
head
fucking
honcho,
thorn in
baby.
the Avengers side. I think
Yeah.
Ultron is the
He
winner.
killed
Ultron.
Quicksilver.
Plus-
We'll give him that.
plus-
Snoke would
Any-
be happy to be up
He didn't
against
kill
him.
Quicksilver.
Well, through his machinations.
Oh, was it in one of the centuries?
Yeah.
Anybody that's half as scared of ChatGPT as I am, or Midjourney, should be scared of Ultron. That is our top done dirty
They even
villain.
chose
Yep, the
Ultron.
chat agreed,
Okay.
running away with it. 79% voting Ultron. Okay, back to our main bracket, and this might be a really tough call.
Oof.
Heath Ledger's Joker versus Darth Vader.
I'm gonna say some dumb shit in this round.
Yeah, you're allowed to. You're valid.
Wait, you're just starting to say dumb shit?
Damn.
Damn. Got
man,
him.
man.
Got it.
You know, I
knife
didn't grow
away
up.
from me.
I did not grow up with Star Wars like a lot of people at this table did. My parents were not.
mean
My
me?
dad was a Star Trek person.
Oh.
My mom didn't really give a shit.
She was Flash Gordon or die.
That's right.
I love Flash Gordon.
Shout out
The
Ming the
Joker
Merciless.
and watching The Dark Knight is one of the things that made me want to get into filmmaking. I think like, what a great character.
But that aside, like villainy.
I'm really partial to the Joker. That's me personally. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to.
I
You're
thought-
right, but I mean, Brandon's right. Like Vader is Satan.
I'll
right?
also say I love that
I
these.
thought Emperor Palpatine was Satan.
I love that these two are in the championship because they're such different characters, obviously from totally different franchises. I also love, right, like Joker is a character like there's been different bodies under that hood, different voices, all this kind of stuff. It can be portrayed very differently. It's like kind of like it's like the Jolly Green Giant or Santa Claus or whatever. Whereas we're saying Heath Ledger's Joker is like a singular performance.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right, and there's been your Jared Leto's, your Jack Nicholson's, like there's been a lot of Jokers, right? But we're picking this one specifically, so I like that they're so different in that way.
If I had to choose, like John, I think I grew up. Joker was my number one. I grew up with that. That's my baby. But I'm like, yeah, Vader. That aside, that's what I'm saying. Put aside is like. He doesn't care, and if they had to go up in an actual battle, do you know how quick Vader would just take out
sure.
No,
Oh, it's not a physical fight.
It's not a physical fight, but I'm like, Joker likes to set up, do this long spiel before he does anything, and that is villainy. They love to do their little monologue, but I like that Vader's like, I'm not gonna talk, I'm just gonna fucking kill you. And he doesn't have any remorse about killing anyone. And then their whole universe is about the dark side and the light side. It's like, once you have too much of this, you got too much of that. And I think it's into a level of like being an ultimate like concrete villain than Joker's does. But I love Joker, but I think I'm gonna lean Vader.
Well, and Vader has that thing that I was talking about with Syndrome, which is this really interesting relationship with the hero of that movie. He's Luke's father. He also has a really interesting relationship with Palpatine, being like someone who gaslit him for so long. Like, he has more interesting relationships with the other characters in those movies than the Joker does, you could argue, even though the Joker obviously like does a lot of personal shit to Bruce Wayne.
It's like it's great that they have differences, but it's not fair because it's like you're choosing between DC and Star Wars.
Well, and you can take every Joker and lump them all together and put them all up against every iteration of Vader we've seen. I still think Vader runs away with that. Vader killed a bunch of kids.
A cancer.
Now maybe
rat
there were
Anakin
kids
killed
in
a
that
bunch of
hospital.
kids.
That's true. That's
Anakin.
true. That's true.
No, that was Vader at that point. Anakin was
think?
dead. Anakin was
Okay,
dead.
here, let's see. Ooh, the chat.
Wow.
55-44, Darth Vader. I will say, I will go along with the consensus here and the chat. Again, as somebody who likes ambiguity in my presentation, we spent 3 prequel movies getting the backstory for Vader. We have technically spent more screen time with Vader than anybody else, probably than the combined total of all these other villains.
That's true.
That's too much for me. I now know too much about that guy. He's lost any scariness, any potential for true evil, and that's why I'm still a Heath Ledger Joker stan, but you can't knock how iconic, how important he is in both that film franchise and in just our world.
So let me get this right. You're saying Joker?
Yes.
I'm saying Joker. You're saying Vader. You're saying Vader.
I say Vader all the way.
So the chat determines
It's Vader.
it's Vader. 55% to 44.
Ultron and Vader. Those are two good villains. Those are two good villains.
When we made this list, I said Vader should not have been on it because he's too good. He's too good of a villain.
who else
Then
from
if you make
Star
the
Wars?
argument that the Joker wins, and
Well, who else
That's
would have been
fair.
for
Yeah.
Who else would have been for Star Wars? You can't not put Vader on. the list.
You put General Grievous in there, obviously.
Oh, I love General Grievous. I would have chosen him immediately. He has 2 hearts. Or a human heart.
no, you have to include Vader when
you
it comes
got
to
it.
a list of villains.
It would be
I know,
disingenuous.
Just
No,
like you
that's
have to
villain of all
put Joker.
time.
Again,
Just like you have
it's
to put
too
Joker.
good. It's too good. It's not fair to put him on the list.
You could have put the Voodoo Man from Princess of the Frog.
Hey, I
Come-
still think
come-
Syndrome is
Come back next week when we do all-time Disney
Disney princess.
animation.
Oh,
Yeah,
baby,
animated.
don't get me started.
Maleficent makes it to the finish.
Jafar?
Maleficent
Don't
makes
get
it to
me
the end.
started.
Thank you guys so much for watching the break room
Yes.
today.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for making the list, John.
Yeah. Come back on Thursday. We'll be doing top heroes.
I think we're just going to be doing best comic book movies of all time.
Okay.
Stop.
Well,
Because we don't. So tomorrow tune in a little earlier than normal. We're going to put up an episode of WikiLeaks.
Yeah,
Eric
check out
Voss,
The Mandalorian tonight.
Tommy Bechtold, maybe a special guest. Not sure. We got to book that person. And then we won't have a show on Friday. So Thursday's our last kind of break room show. We're going
I'm
to
not
kind of
gonna
cap
be
it off.
here.
I know.
Do you technically? Could you technically put Watchmen on that list because it's a TV series?
Ooh.
Oh,
Sure,
it is.
I
No, there was
don't
a
know.
Watchmen
There
comic
was
book
a
movie.
There was
That's
a movie.
one of the most accurate comic book page to screen movies
I
ever
mean,
made.
is it kind of like putting Vader on this list? Is it even worth putting Jonah Hex on that list? Come back Thursday and find out, everybody.
R.I.P.D.? R.I.P.D.
no.
making the list?
Blade Trinity. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, we hope to see you in Anaheim if you're going to be at WonderCon. Otherwise, we hope to see you back here on the Break Room.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like the stream. Latest, gators.
Bye, everybody.
Auf Wiedersehen.